Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Death's Head 2, number 3, that is part 3 of 4, cover dated May 1992. And the cover caption here, "On the Run in the Far Future." We get to find out where Death's Head went to at the end of the previous issue. Death's Head and Tuck, so clearly this character here, are partners in crime. And it seems to be quite a medieval setting with the swords and dagger and other accoutrements of medieval costuming, such as Death's Head's tunic here and belt buckle and so on and so forth. So a little bit of a mystery on the cover. I love the detailing here from Liam Sharp. This is penciled and inked by Liam Sharp, of the shadow of the tree branches on Death's Head here on his shiny metallic pate. So pretty cool cover. I like it very much. Let's open it up to the first page and see what we have in store for us in terms of the story. So the narrative caption reads, Lionheart, 3442 AD, the forest-covered throne world of the human protectorate, cradle of an empire. And then we have a voice over, a first-person monologue, and we'll discover in time who's speaking. We came out of Finder's Keep at dawn, following the trackway through the great forest. Everyone was nervous, bandits you see. Few caravans travelled from the keep unmolested, for in these dark forest ways, the rebellion against tyranny was strongest. Bandits we were ready for, legends no. So then we pick up with the action, and one of those legends happens to be, well, Death's Head here. Great work on the page by the creative team. Speaking of whom, story Dan Abnett, pencils Liam Sharp, inks Andy Lanning, letters Perry Godbold, and colours Helen Stone. So we've got these wonderful, vibrant watercolour dyes for the colours throughout the issue. So we've got these little dinosaur beasts that they're riding as well. So it's a kind of a medieval type world they're on. And we'll get some explanation as to how we're in the far future, how there are spaceships shown and other worlds part of this Imperium, and yet there's no technology on this particular world. An explanation will come in due course. So this is the leader of the caravan. He calls it a pilgrimage, poor pilgrimage of the Sisters of the Holy Hassock. And so there's lots of kind of medieval type references and culture reconfigured and recast throughout this issue. And Death's Head himself is recast as a type of Robin Hood type. So here he is with his merry men, to whom he says, don't think of them as nuns, think of them as meal tickets. So a great little anchor image there. And so we've got a sword fight between Death's Head, and out emerge the militia security for the pilgrimage, and inside the one of the what would we call them, wagons, covered wagons, we have these sisters indeed. One of them is clearly a man, and out they emerge with their swords, daggers, and crossbows as well, and attack Death's Head and his merry men. But somebody gets the drop on the guy with the crossbow. She says, oh no you don't, scumbag. So she was disguised as one of them, and she says to Death's Head here, I'm on your side, Hood. And that's the name he's going by on this world. Been hunting you for simply months, she says. And Death's Head in Andy Lanning's script has quite dry wit. And so he says to her in response, any particular reasons? I don't do autographs. And she says she joined the nuns because I knew they were out to destroy you. I want to join your outlaw band. The name's Tuck. No kidding, says Death's Head. And of course there was a Friar Tuck among Robin Hood's merry men. So she's of a very different order than Friar Tuck in the legends. And here we have Death's Head back with his crew, and they're counting their booty there. And they've taken some of these dino rides, captured some of them as well. So this guy trying to wrangle that one there. And then we get this interview between Death's Head and Tuck, where she talks about the larger setup. On the planet, Lionheart is falling apart. The king's fighting in a crusade light years away against a race whose language we don't speak, whose ways we don't know, but who mean us no harm. The only authority figures left here are fat scumbags having a whale of a time, while the cat's away lining their pockets at our expense. So kind of like a reconfigured version of Richard the Lionheart off on the Third Crusade, and then the kingdom pray to the likes of King John, well, not King John, but his brother Prince John, and also the barons of the realm, folk like the Sheriff of Nottingham in the Robin Hood legends, and all of that reconfigured here. This is a great panel. So we've got the whole shot here broken up into 3 individual panels, as Death's Head refers to his men as a variety of cyborgs and androids as well, so synthetic beings, and they're outlawed on this particular planet. And he refers to himself, he says, "We're none of us entirely natural, so given that the laws of Lionheart utterly forbid the existence of artificial or semi-artificial sentience, we find ourselves forcibly united. That's why we fight the lords and their huskarls. It's not a matter of rights and democracy and robbing the rich to feed the poor. It's a matter of survival." So no romance here among Death's Head and his merry men. So Tuck here insists that it's a matter of survival for her too. So she takes off the nun's robe that she'd been wearing. And what are these bandages about? Well, she's going to undo the one on her upper arm to reveal that she's a replicated organic. And she says, "When my creator found out what they do to tissue brokers who create replicates in this protectorate, he sold me to a cat house, no questions asked. I may be flesh and blood," she says, "but I'm as artificial as you. Will that do?" So Death's Head is satisfied, tells her to grab a casket and shut up, it's time to go. So that's who Tuck is. She is a replicate, a synthetic flesh and blood being. And then the scene switches to New York 2020, and here we have Spratt, who's Death's Head's former partner, and Death's Head's old body here destroyed, which he's handed over to the great-grandson of Baron von Strucker. And he is making out that he's repairing the body, but it's beyond the ability of contemporary technology to repair. So he's going to use something else to get that body up and moving again. And he says here that don't look so worried to Spratt. He says it's just a few appropriate amulets, a bloodstone icon, tincture of chimera, wolfsbane, talisman, and a few necessary alterations to the original specifications. Trust me, I know exactly what I'm doing. So he's going to be using magics in order to revive Death's Head's original body, or, as it turns out, do something a little bit else. So, Lionheart again, specifically Coeur d'Leon, the fortress citadel of the king's brother, the Lord High Protector. That's what John was before he became king, while Richard the Lionheart was off fighting the Third Crusade. And of course, Coeur d'Leon is the French for Lionheart. So little jokes going on here by Dan Abnett. We get a look at the Lord High Protector's throne room here. He's boasting about his deeds, putting the colour back in some varlet's breeches. And who's there with him except for this interesting figure behind a veil with red hair. And the Lord High Protector says to her, "Do you like my tale?" And she says, "Indeed, sir, and I should like to know more of this outlaw Hood." So there's grave news regarding Hood. He's struck again, and the caravan of the Holy Sisterhood has fallen to him. So the Lord High Protector looks aghast. "The Sisterhood, the church will have my guts for garters. Where did this happen?" "On the road to Losers Weep, not 2 hours since." So That caravan that left Finders Keep on the way to Losers Weep. Little jokes there by Abnett throughout. And who is this veiled figure with the big red hair? Well, she takes the veil off here and reveals her name as Lady Evelyn Clarice Necker of AIM, AYM. So this is Dr. Necker from issues 1 and 2 of the series, and she's obviously managed to follow Minion / Death's Head to this future and this particular world. And there's a little running joke where the Lord High Protector says, Clarice, that's my mother's name, just in the same way that Reed Richards in issue 2 picked on Evelyn and said, that's my mother's name. And so she says, I know a lot about you, Roderick. Our timeline archives were surprisingly precise about this period at least. And then the scene switches to the forest beyond Cordelon, dark friend to the friendless. So we've got a campfire, we've got Death's Head there, Tuck and the Merry Men. And Tuck asks Death's Head, what brought you to Lionheart? And Death's Head here is observing his next move in the hologramic war game here. That's interesting. So you've got a blend of the medieval and technology. But before I move on with the story, I just want to comment on this anchor image. Really great work here by Liam Sharp and Andy Lanning, and the colorist Helen Stone as well. Those watercolor dyes just look great on this particular page, even if Roderick there has a green face. So Death's Head tells his story about his programming as Minion, how he was scavenging the instincts and abilities of over 100 beings to make him less lethal, to make him as lethal as possible. Talks about Death's Head, how Death's Head has the upper hand in his programming now, and how that has indeed freed him from AIM's programming. So Tuck asks him, so really I should call you Death's Head? Yes, he replies. So while they're talking, one of the bands comes up and asks Death's Head if he wants to join in the dance, but he is shot by an arrow, the head of which emerges right out of his chest. And then here we have these Huskarls that the Lord Protector has sent to take down Death's Head. And here's their leader, Major Oak is his name. So this is a situation, dangerous situation for Death's Head and his men. And how is he going to respond to this? So we've got a nice page of fight scenes here with Major Oak going up against Death's Head. And then watching from the distance, we've the Lord Protector, Lord High Protector, and Dr. Necker aboard this. When we get a good look at this creature here, it's a lot like Battle Cat from He-Man. This is great. I love the colors here. The different range of watercolors here as the fight, the melee is going on in the foreground. Dr. Necker dismounts from the beast there. We see Death's Head going up against Major Oak. Just like back and forth between them in terms of witty banter. Death's Head making out that he's a bouncer here, but Major Oak isn't finished with him, so he comes at him again. And Necker's changing into her AIM suit, and she bops the Lord High Protector on the back of the head, knocks him out, and then she gets ready to get Minion back to 2020 before AIM is destroyed. So she's focused on that. We see the fight between Death's Head and Major Oak, but Major Oak is a mutant, so he's able to heal himself. Death's Head isn't able to get the entire better of him. And he says here, die. Oh no, wait a second. Yeah, so Death's Head says to Major Oak, it seems to me, methinks your aim doth fail, Oak. Curse you, Hood, you fight like a demon. Yup, but I'm nice to my mom. And this is kind of in the run-up to Necker making her appearance. And then we catch up with Tuck, and she's going up against one of the Huskarls here. She gets the better of him. That's quite a cool panel of her stabbing the guy through the stomach, out his back. Back to the fight between these two. Oak seems to have got the better of Death's Head says you're finished HUD. And Death's Head asks him, Oak here says, there will be no next time to Death's Head. Outlaw, prepare to meet thy maker. And he responds, is she here then? Yes, she is. So she blasts Oak from behind. And there she is. And like I said to you earlier, when we get a good look at this mount that she's riding, this beast, it's a lot like Battle Cat from He-Man, from the He-Man universe or mythos. So Death's Head says, Saved by the Bell. Long time no see, Dr. Necker. That's a big gun you've got there. So she says, if I'm going to break the local anti-technology laws, there's no point in doing it by halves. But Tuck gets the drop on her, hanging off the tree branch right behind her, and has got that blade right under her neck, at her throat. So Necker says to Death's Head, you've lost the battle, minion. He says, call me HUD, or better still, Death's Head. Doctor, everyone else does. So she allows that and says, okay, Death's Head, I built you to protect AIM's interests in 2020. You must obey me and come back there now. It's in your programming. But of course, he is now freed of that AIM programming. He makes the point again, not mine. I lost that in 1992 thanks to Reed Richards. I'm my own man now. It's a great anchor image of Death's Head and Tuck. And I like the choice here, the artistic choice by Sharp to leave the background, the trees, in open silhouette to be colored in by Helen Stone. Looks really good. So then Necker takes a different tack with Death's Head. She asks him, so you won't come up my bidding? Not in this life, Doctor, he says. Then how about if I paid you $3 million for your services payable once AIM is safe? $5 million, yes. 3.5, 5, he insists. You're wasting my time, Necker. Who else is going to save your precious organization? So that really is confirmation that Death's Head's consciousness is uppermost in the minion unit's mind, because that's the way that you would bargain with Death's Head, with money. That was his character as a mercenary, or as he preferred, freelance peacekeeping agent. So he says that's tax-free, and she replies, is the IRS going to argue with you? So Tuck wants to go along with him, and I like this little comic bit, this silent comedy, where one of these Huskarls gets up, Death's Head spies him getting up, and just deals with him with his sword arm here, while Tuck is making her point that she wants to go too. So he agrees, all right, let's go, ladies. So off they go, and he says, I'll consider what's happened here as unfinished business. So he's going to be back. And then we go back to 2020, Spratt's workshop in New York, and Strucker here, von Strucker says, you see, Spratt, my great-grandfather created AIM during the Second World War and was the instigator of its greatest successes, but they turned their corporate back on him, spurned my family after all the glory we had brought them, so now I want revenge for my entire family line. So that's von Strucker's motivation, revenge, and he says, I've become death. So Spratt is shocked. He's melded himself with Death's Head's body, and Spratt runs away, but von Strucker grabs him with his eldritch power, his necromancy, and he says here, I'm reminded of ancient words, Spratt, words that take on new significance tonight. I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and have the keys of hell and of death. Men shall call me charnel, for where I go, destruction follows. So interesting design here by Liam Sharp on this particular page, this full page image of the Death's Head von Strucker amalgam. And then we're on our final page. So Death's Head and the two women arrive at AIM headquarters in 2020, but they're too late. So Necker is disappointed. We're too late. Well, I was off hunting for you, the very disaster we predicted has happened. Death's Head is thinking or asking, yeah, but what and why? And Tuck realizes this was no ordinary attacker. The place smells of magic. I've seen something like it before. So Necker says part of the time tracker is still working. Whatever did this has made a jump to 1992. Now it's destroyed AIM here. It's out to destroy its past too. If we don't stop it, you, me, and our entire timeline will cease to exist. So next issue, 2020 Vision, guest starring, look at this, the Punisher, Spider-Man, Wolverine, the Rhino, and the Avengers, as you've never seen them before. So it is an all-out action climax to this 4-issue miniseries. And here, this is very cool. You've got the bioschematics for the Minion unit. And quite a lot of detail here about his exterior armor faceplate, control center, cranial disruption system, plasma fusion weapon, blade weapon, all of this. We've got some advertisements for other titles from the Marvel UK imprint, like the Knights of Pendragon. That's a very cool image here. I think this is by Liam Sharp. This art here, I think, is by Gary Erskine. It'd be, yeah, it's signed by Liam Sharp there, so penciled and inked by him. Very cool. The Knights of Pendragon and some of the Avengers there. Digitech here. They're going to cross over with Deathlock. And there you go. And of course, every one of these issues of the miniseries had a back cover too. And this one is pretty cool as well. Penciled and inked by Liam Sharp, featuring that battle sword fight between here, front and center, Major Oak and Death's Head. Looks cool, but I do think they made the best choice for the official front cover, this one of Death's Head and Tuck. So I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Death's Head 2, number 3. If you did, please like the video on YouTube, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.